Welcome, 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 everybody. It is wonderful to be back with you. Three guys before the game. Senator's here. Our boy is here. And I mean, our boy is here. Hoppy is front, center. He's attentive. And he has been busy and focused.
Is Garrett here?
Garrett Green?
Garrett Green here?
Busy.
Oh.
Busy. I called. He said he got to do something.
Okay.
Otherwise, he said he loves being here. Jaquay loves being here. All those guys. Ollie Straw, they all love coming in. But they're busy. Camp is open. We're going to talk about that. Coming up on the program. Gentlemen, despite the fact that we continue to do this show, we've gained a sponsor. I mean, it's kind of amazing how that works. But
Charity for all.
We would like to welcome a brand new sponsor on the Three Guys.
Before you do, this one has a chance. I'm excited about this one.
You think?
Yeah, this one has a chance. This one's pretty good.
I think as far as sponsorships go, this one is right out of Central Casting for us. Please welcome to Three Guys Before the Game, Tudor's Biscuit World.
Oh, man.
Start your day the homemade way with Tudor's Biscuits. That's what I'm talking about.
Line up with a big Mountaineer biscuit right now, Kurt.
Boy. They are the best.
So far today, I have only eaten 5 peaches, and it's almost 1 o'clock. Right now, I'd take a Tudor's biscuit and be the first one they ever made that had sparks coming off of it.
What would you get if you could get one right now?
Yeah, whatever they had. I'd say whatever you have you can do quickest, I'll take one of those.
Mountaineer gives you a little country ham, potato, egg, and cheese.
Yeah.
The biscuit itself is worth it.
Dude.
And then you add in the accoutrement.
As you well know, like, it's one thing to say.
I mean, the minor. Bacon, potato, melted cheese.
It's one thing to say, hey, those biscuits are great. Those biscuits are great, right? It's one thing. Okay. Sometimes that becomes a regional thing. You know what they did this year?
What?
Went out and in a 32 different brands of biscuit makers, they went out and they were named the South's Best Biscuit. Look at that, Hop. That was the head-to-head competition.
So they won a World's Championship?
Yeah, World's Championship. Garden and Gun Magazine hosted its annual March Madness Biscuit Bracket. 32 different brands. After intense competition, the Mountaineer. It's called the Mountaineer. What that is, country ham, egg, cheese, and a crispy hash brown was crowned by the South's Best Biscuit by Gun and Garden, Garden and Gun, whatever it takes. Celebrate a West Virginia original on the way to the game.
Lined up,
treat yourself to a delicious breakfast handout with a Tudor's Mountaineer. Start your day the homemade way. Lined up.
And that's Tony, that's the South. That's not like, you beat Seattle. That's
all
the South.
All due respect to
You know
Seattle.
who was entered in that thing, Hoppy? I looked at the list.
Like Georgia, Alabama.
Buc-ee's.
Oh, really?
Lined up, beat Bucky, laughed at Buc-ee's, ran a 2-3 zone against them, couldn't get a shot off.
Of course.
Yeah. Three Guys also brought to us by Comax Business Systems, keeping West Virginia's business data safe, secure, and efficient for 25 years. I love those folks. I was down in Charleston last Thursday, had my group picture taken. I do it every year with those guys.
Had your picture made with
them? I had my picture made with Bob and all the people from Comax. They use it for their Christmas card. I don't know if they do.
You're going to be on the Christmas card?
You're not on the Comex Christmas card. That's totally unconfirmed.
I tell them every year they should. I don't know if they do.
You have to ask, can I be on your Christmas card?
Bob, could you please?
I hope they do it now.
Yeah.
Three Guys also brought to us by Lou Wendell Marine Sales in St. Albans. They sell family fun. Visit LouWendellMarineSales.com. I'm going to get a little something new from them coming up later on in the show.
Oh.
Although there still is pontoon time. Don't give up on the pontooning just yet.
No, right
or
through September.
Or the tri-tuning, as it were.
Mm-hmm. Three Guys also brought to us by Gomart. Gomart is the place to be for so many different reasons. Visit them at Gomart.com. Get the rewards card. But even more so right now with football season starting, each year they do the ultimate game day experience where people are picked.
This is pretty good.
This is a hell of a deal. I want you to sign up. Go to a Gomart and do this. Ultimate game day experience. You walk in as if you're chosen. You walk with the Mountaineers on the man trip. You come in with the team, and you also get game day tickets, and you can rock limited edition Gomart and WVU apparel. Ready to win it all? All you have to do, download the Gomart app, head over to a Gomart, and sign up. Entries are accepted through 23 August, up until 23 August. So sign up for that, because every game, the deal works, and it's the ultimate game day experience. Go to Gomart.
Sign up by when?
23rd. We'll remind you throughout. All right, so a lot of stuff is going on. And as we get ready for football, practice has begun. We're about a week in since things started. And to tell you the level of importance and the significance of this season, look who showed up at practice yesterday for the Mountaineers. I was there, Brad was there, and who's in the middle? Our little own Hoppy had his junior cub reporter hat on. Well, he took the hat off for the picture, but you see that little slip of paper he had underneath his armpit there? He was getting all the details.
Got it with me right now.
So how'd it feel to be out there, Hop?
Oh, I loved it. It was just fantastic.
You like that, don't you?
Oh my gosh.
Don't you think that's better than sitting around talking about the government and politics and stuff?
It is so it's so immersive,
Yeah.
right? You're there. We were there, and other reporters, and you're just watching, and you're just talking football and guys, right? You're not talking about. Although, this is classic. So I see the head ball coach, and he's practicing. I'm not going to.
He came over to see. I saw that.
Yeah. So he, hey Hop, I'm like, hey coach, I'm not going to bother you. He goes, hey man, I read your commentary the other day about the. I said, what?
He doesn't miss.
He does not miss a trick.
No, he's on top of it. He's CEO.
And I said, I'll let you get back. He says, no.
Was it during the freeze pop break?
No, they were practicing.
Yeah, it's all right.
That's
all right. That's why he's got assistants.
But to be there and to watch it, and Brad, and Tony, we're just so into it, and just watching these guys and talking to staff, right, and talking to coaches, because they'll talk to you now, right, and getting a little insight on this and that. It was wonderful. Wonderful. Saw Rashid, future Hall of Fame member.
Congratulations
Rashid
to
Marshall.
Rashid.
Awesome for Rashid.
Adrian Morrell, Rashid Marshall, and Anthony Becht. Understand, Becht not going to come to the Hall of Fame ceremony itself.
Got a new gig.
Going to wait a few weeks. He's going to be honored when Iowa State and his son come in as quarterback. Going to bring him on the field, and at that point, give him his recognition, because Iowa State plays the same day as this Hall of Fame.
He'll be joining the Jets radio booth officially this fall.
Oh, is he doing that?
Yeah, that was just announced earlier today.
First I've heard of this.
Well, that's just announced earlier today as we record on Thursday. So, added to his mini gigs. Yeah. Still coaching.
He needs he needs more jobs.
He doesn't sit around.
Do you think, like, when he's in New York to do those games, he'll also Uber? Like, be a driver?
Does some home shopping network stuff.
Is he still doing home shopping?
I don't think
he is. No, that coaching stuff's kind of takes a lot of time.
Occupied him?
Yeah. But in the fall, he's been doing TV for preseason games for the Jets for a while now. Obviously, a former player for the Jets, former first-round pick.
Right.
So he's going to slide into the radio booth for them. So awesome for him. Congratulations to he and Rashid in particular.
Also, this is a three guys first because of when we're recording. Be the first time that we're ever able to do this. We're going to update you, live updates.
Since it's a live show.
Live updates of the Mountaineer basketball team. They're playing as we speak, their last of 3 games over in Italy. And at the end of the first quarter.
End of the first quarter, you're going to listen to this after the game's over. This is great. Right on brand.
End of the first quarter, West Virginia 33, Stella #EBK 23. Tucker DeVries has 19 at the end of 1.
What? Excuse me?
So Tucker only down 4.
Yeah.
Tucker only down 4 to the other team.
Yeah, the other team's got 4 more than Tucker. So 33-23. You know what we should do, since we're going to be on for a little bit? We should now project the final score.
What is it now?
They scored 33 in the first quarter.
Plus 10.
So they win by how many, Brad?
98-47, something.
25.
I'm going 27. I was going to say 27. So they scored 33 in the first quarter. I say they scored 27. They'll have 60 at the end of the half, and then I'll go. Then the other guys 60. they'll have 94 points when it's over.
Now, what you don't know, my guy Jake Auer might come in there off the bench, start lighting people up.
He could. 3-point threat.
Mm-hmm.
3-point threat. I haven't told you about that, did I?
No.
So the kid that played at his high school is now a walk-on for the Mountaineers, and we went over to practice. We went over to practice, and Johnny Nervous Boy over here goes, "Gee, I wonder if he broke my 3-point record." He couldn't like he ran faster to the kid to ask him than the kids were running sprints.
Hold on, if you're going to tell the
practice.
story, the head basketball coach asked the kid. I didn't ask him.
You were You asked Darren to ask him.
I did not ask Darren to ask him. I'm just saying I was talking to Darren about it, and the head coach immediately stopped practice and asked the kid.
You said, and you had 8, and you were nervous. What year was your last year?
89.
So it's been a while.
Been a while.
35 years.
Oh, my gosh.
35
Did
years.
he break the record?
He thought that he did, and then he came back the next day and said, "Hey, I did go check. I had 7 a bunch of times, but I never had 8."
The record holds.
I need to get that confirmed because Jake's really, really good kid. I think he was just pandering to me because I'm the old guy in there. I think he might have actually had 8. But he says 7, so it may still stand.
Yeah.
I'm going to check that.
I told him, that's all I got left, man.
That's
all I'm still hanging on. That's all I got left.
Yeah. All right.
Help me out.
Hal hits another one. That's 8 3-pointers.
Help me out.
By the way, congratulations to all the other new inductees to the WV Sports Hall of Fame. And they'll be inducted, enshrined the 3rd week of September. So that's the Kansas game. Or I'm sorry, the 4th game of the season. I think it's the 20th. The Kansas game. And that's always fun to do. It's free inside the Caperton Indoor Practice Facility. And good class. And Hoppy, you learned about the story of Betty Hushla.
Incredible story.
This week.
And I love the story because I didn't know.
No one knows. No one really knows.
You're right.
I'd say like less than 1% of Mountaineer fans know that story.
Oh, absolutely less than 1%. And Brad, you know the story now, right?
He doesn't know the story.
And she was a female swimmer, came to WV from New York State, I believe, came to West Virginia because she could be on the swim team and was on the men's swim team.
Didn't have a women's swim team.
Didn't have. And was competitive and was winning races and was excelling. And then, Tony, you might have to refresh me a little bit, and went to the Southern Conference tournament.
Southern Conference.
And
Said she can't compete.
They would, and this is before Title IX, and would not let her compete. And WVU, to their credit, the late Betty Boyd, who was like Dean of Women here at WVU, put together a protest for it, and 2,000 people signed it, but the Southern Conference didn't give in, and she did not get to participate. Even though West Virginia objected. And that was the last time she swam. I don't think she swam after that.
Right.
But she was groundbreaking before people were breaking ground in Title IX.
Before female athletics.
Yeah.
Before women's athletics.
And it's just a remarkable story. Tony, credit to you and that organization, that group that comes up with the names, of including her in the Hall of Fame.
A lot of that was John Antonick. He learned of the story and said, "Oh, wait a second. This is historic.
Yeah.
This is wild." Just to me, back in the day, like the vision that I get in my head when the Southern Conference said no to her, why do I just think like of a dude in a seersucker suit, right? Like one of them stupid hats that the guy wears at the Nathan hot dog contest every 4th of July.
Now, we can't let
Now, I'm going to tell you something right now. If West Virginia thinks they're going to bring a lady down here and compete, men, no. Why is that voice in my head? I just think of a foghorn, leghorn dude at the Southern Conference going like, nope, not going to happen here.
So that was when?
62, 63, 64, right in there.
Somewhere in that area.
Yeah.
You know,
Wild story.
It's a great story.
It is a great story. And she's passed, but there's her sister.
Sister's still alive.
It's going to be be in.
Sister's still alive. All right, so go ahead.
Oh, what?
You were at practice.
Oh, okay.
I want to hear your take.
Oh, I'm still giddy from well, look, it's August, so every team everywhere is optimistic, right?
Yes.
And every coach is optimistic, but they should be.
Right. Hope springs eternal.
Yeah, exactly. And coaches by nature are optimistic. And so you got to temper that a little bit. But I tell you what, Brad, I want to play a little game with you. It's like pointing to the guy in Moneyball.
Oh, game.
Okay. Is that comparing this right now, just comparing this team where it is now to some of the previous teams and where the mindset is. So let's take a couple things. Last year this time, whether or not the head ball coach would make it through the season this year.
Totally fine.
Totally fine. Last year, we kind of knew by this time.
Signed an extension, in fact.
Yeah, Garrett Green was going to be the quarterback, but weren't sure. He was still untested. And this year,
Heisman candidate, every watch list there is. Now, finally, the nation is waking up to what we've been saying for a year, starting to come around to the Garrett Green hype.
last year, we knew C.J. Donaldson, but could he stay healthy? Is there somebody else that can carry the ball?
CJ was very good, but all you did was put in another true freshman in Jaheim White, who led the team in rushing.
One of the things we talked about a lot over the last couple of years was receivers. Do you have depth? Do you have somebody who can make plays this year?
Now you have so many receivers. The question's going to be, can you keep everybody happy and get them the ball?
Last year and in previous years, it was, depth. We don't have depth. Defensive backfield was suspect last year. This year?
Same thing, multiple guys. Yeah. 16 different defensive backs that are going to see some time potentially.
Yeah. So the point being is that will this team have deficiencies? Yes, because you're not Georgia, right? Every team will have some deficiencies. But how many years have we looked at these teams since Neil Brown came and wondered, Tony, and wondered like, oh my gosh, can they run the ball?
Right.
Oh my gosh, can they? Is a quarterback going to be able to get you a third down completion? Can the defense stop anybody? And you do not have those glaring weaknesses that stood out in previous years. Now, what does that lead to this season? I don't know, but I think what stands out to me early is not having the glaring weaknesses of previous seasons.
Spot on. They have built everything back up to where it needs to be competitive week in and week out. But as you said, it's a weird game. You know, how that ball bounces on a Saturday remains to be seen. But at least you go into every single one of these games now with the opportunity to win each game, where in the past several years that hasn't been the case.
We did at Hoppy on Sportsline last night. We went through just offensively at the skills side of things, because that, to me, is what jumps out this year. Is I made the point a couple of years ago, we'd sit around and say, all right, it's 3rd and 3. What do you call? Are you gonna do? Yeah. Who do you give it to? What are you don't really have as many options. This year, what did we get to, 11 last night? Mm-hmm. Like legitimate guys that you could say, all right, they can get the ball and make a play for you. That's just on the offensive side. That doesn't get to the defense.
Right.
I think you're in a really great spot. Are there questions? Yes, there always is. But I think you enter this season with the excitement that's around this program is deserved. It should be there. Now, the biggest question to me isn't so much about this Mountaineer team, although there are some. It's really just what this league is going to look like, because the key to this season, guys, is going to be not the health and turnover situation that it always is. Put those aside. This, to me, is about winning close games. Mm-hmm. That's going to determine how teams in this league are slotted. Can you win close games? Because I think you're in for playing a bunch of them.
And what did Neil Brown say at his press conference yesterday, Tony? He talked about working on that offensively inside the red zone, defensively inside the red zone. When you get in that red zone, what do you got to do, Brad? What do you got to get?
Well, you not only have to score, you've got to score touchdowns. And last year, West Virginia was in the 70s nationally, just a little below the midway point. Averaged a touchdown 60% of the time they were in the red zone. So, and that was a very good offense, especially by the end of the year. That was clicking. That has to kick up a little bit if you're going to pick off a couple more of those close games and do what this team wants to do this year. But again, with all those weapons, you feel like that's a realistic goal. That's not a coach just saying, hey, this has to get better. That's something that could get better. There is a lot of options when you get down inside that red zone.
And you don't have to be dramatically better. Okay? You can just be like 15% better, right? And that'll make a difference. So,
well, 15% would be a massive jump, Hop. That puts you tops in the country.
All right, 5%.
Yeah, that's right. All right, it's an even smaller window. If you just get it 5 to 8 to 10% better, you really elevate your scoring efficiency.
Or like in your red zone trips, you score a touchdown instead of a field goal once, right? Anyway.
All right, so let's break it down a little further. Do a deeper dive.
Okay.
You have something?
Well, Jaheim White.
It looks like you got your notepad there.
I do. A little notepad here.
Go ahead.
Well, Jaheim White, and we mentioned him, and I mean that's an obvious story, but he ended up with 871 yards, right? 570% of those yards were from Cincinnati forward. So halfway through the season forward. Right. And then take out Duquesne. I mean, just take out Duquesne, where he gained 100 yards. But so he wasn't carrying the ball until Cincinnati. And then he went BYU 148, Oklahoma, bad game, 42, Cincinnati 210, Baylor 140, and the bowl game 54. So 594 of his yards were in those last 5 games.
Mm-hmm.
So if you continue that, if you say his season really started mid-season, And if he's able to pick up where he left off, now we got to see what the offensive line does. We understand that. He would average 119 yards a game. You take that?
Oh yeah, that's huge.
Yeah. And the other point about that is he had 109 carries. Donaldson had 171 and Green had 120. So with Green and White, Brad, you want to flip that a little bit, right? I mean, you like it when Green runs, but maybe have White have 150 and Green have 90 or 80, something like that.
Yeah, I think that's realistic.
It's really remarkable. That's a heck of a three-headed monster running the football. And we're going to talk about the offensive line because the loss of Zach Frazier's obvious and it's big, and you've got to address it, and we will talk about it. But, man, that backfield, just the options it presents with those three guys and what you saw from White at the end of the season, it's pretty remarkable. In those limited carries for him, he still ends up with the most missed tackles forced on the team.
Oh, yeah.
Ahead of those guys. How about this? This surprised me a little bit, guys. He led the team in yards after contact per attempt, even more so than C.J. Donaldson. So he wasn't just elusive. He could get through some tackles as well. So, yeah, White's obviously a star in the making, if not already a star, and that's just going to do nothing but make CJ better.
Sure.
Right? Because now you get to keep them both fresh. CJ returns from being dinged up all last year. I think you're going to get a different CJ Donaldson. And then, oh, by the way, you've got one of the best running quarterbacks in this league there. When all hell breaks loose and it breaks down and you need a play, you just tell Six to take off and go do something.
So with that being said, and have been a past victim of preseason intoxication of hype, now I want to play devil's advocate.
Sure.
And by the way, if you're ever in Edinburgh, Scotland, there's a wonderful restaurant called Devil's Advocate. Strongly suggested. Okay, we're sitting here and everything is cotton candy and puppy dog tails. Where should we be concerned on offense? Right side of the offensive line?
Yes.
Yeah. And also left side, because as we heard, Wyatt Milam has to stay healthy.
Sure, absolutely.
And you go, well, everybody has to stay healthy. But look, he's had some injuries, and you got to keep. I mean, that's the strength. Wyatt Milam is the strength of the line. But Brad, that's the strength of your offensive line. But you think other teams know that?
They do, and so that's going to be the test, right? You've got Brandon Yates, who had a really good season, sliding over to center. You have Jaquay Hubbard, friend of this show, and Nick Malone, who had really good seasons last year, filling in. We've talked about Malone a bunch, playing in the different spots. He's going to be the starting right tackle to open the season. Jaquay at that right guard. The question just is, how far forward have they come, number one? And then the backups that are going to come in and spell them, are they able to give you what those guys gave you last year as backups? Because you've got to be able to keep the defense at least somewhat confused as to which side you're going to run. They're going to load left and tell you, okay, you want to beat us? You're going to have to run to the right side against us. Can you do that? If West Virginia can do that enough to keep you honest, then all the stuff offensively starts rolling.
They've got the opportunity offensively to run some, what I'm just going to, kind of a weird non-football word, but they run some really cute stuff on offense. Oftentimes in basketball, we always say, hey, so-and-so, that coach runs really good stuff. Because of the pieces that you have now, they can do some really neat-looking things on offense, just opportunities, and just come to the line of scrimmage with three distinct different options based upon your defensive formation and run stuff. You watch it in practice, and you go like, ooh, that's pretty good. Where in the past, I think, watching, everything was kind of a chore. Everything was hard to get to establish. Now I'm seeing boom, 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 crispness that just
you're right.
It's eye-catching.
You're 100% right. And there's two parts of that. And the biggest key to this offense, before the right side of the offensive line, before getting the ball to just limit turnovers like you did last year. That's part of why this offense could click so much, because you just didn't turn it over. You kept the ball. Garrett was unbelievably good and judicious with his passing attempts, didn't force many balls at all last season. That allowed you to be really efficient. Tony, to your point, we sat there yesterday and watched one particular drill, and we spent a lot of time talking about this at the end of last year, Hop, when they would go into the same formation and run a total. We charted this in the bowl game. 8 different plays, different plays off one formation. You talk about causing chaos for the defense. Yesterday they were working on a drill where they did this. And it was a passing play with 3 different options to 3 different players that could potentially catch the ball, all from a set that looked exactly the same. So to your point, there is some really fun stuff. And I thought you saw last year We said this going into last season. If they don't turn the ball over, then you're going to get a chance to see Neil Brown's creativity on offense. I thought by the end of the season that was extremely evident as you started seeing new wrinkles towards the end of the year each week. The difference this year, that starts from week 1. Penn State's going to see some more wrinkles this year offensively that they did not see and that they will not be able to see on film. It'll look totally different at times. So I'm really excited to watch this offense go to work this season.
If you'd indulge me, I move away from our regularly scheduled programming. Halftime score, WVU men's basketball. now leading Stella #EBK 57-31. I'd called for a 60-point half. They go 57, but big number coming out. Mountaineers hit 10 threes in the first half. They went 10 of 22, just under 50% from three. Scoring, Tucker DeVries had 26 of the team's 57.
So he's down 1.
He's down 5.
Down 5.
He's down
okay.
5
Down 5 at the half.
At halftime. Jaden Stone had 13. Javon had 8. Buck and Toby each had 5.
Okay, pretty good.
So there you go.
There's been some nice three-point shooting, and that's what this team's going to need to do, guys. They're going to have multiple guys that make threes. DeVries can. You saw the freshman Jonathan Powell the other game, 6'6" shooting guard out of Ohio, had 5 threes the other night. He's kind of a wild card, Hoppy. Watch him. He's great body, great skill set. If he can come in and give you a few threes each game, look out there.
Okay. Early over-under on wins.
In basketball?
Yeah.
Early.
I'm not going to hold anybody to it.
I'm not going on record yet. I got to look at the schedule. I got to see when the schedule comes out completely.
All right. Never mind. Brett, Tony, you want to go?
Nah.
Okay.
I think people will like them. I think they'll be a likable team that plays really hard and it'll be fun to watch. But do you have the talent on a night in, night out basis in this league?
Oh, it's a tough league.
This league takes its kids. It's just
that's why some of that's going to depend on how the non-conference goes. I think this team will match up well in the non-conference, have a chance to win some games there. But how many is that in the non-conference? Then that sets you up. You're going to be at a size disadvantage pretty much every night in this league. But you have games like that where you're going to bust out 10, 15 threes on a night. Someone's in some trouble when you do that.
All right, back to football. Back to our regularly scheduled programming. Defensively, if I were to say to you, are there any – there's always concerns on any team. Are there any acute concerns for you?
You want me to start?
Sure.
So I think I don't think. There's more depth than there's been all throughout the defense. Linebacker position in particular, defensive back in particular as well. So your margin for error there has increased because you have more guys that you can put in. The questions to me are how quickly those new guys in the defensive backfield can step up and be real contributors at this level, number one. And hand in hand with that, Hop, the pressure on the quarterback. You've got some guys that you think can rush the quarterback, but does Sean Martin become a guy that NFL scouts are showing up every day to watch and turn into a third-round draft pick? If he does, you like this defense a lot. So there's a question. Ty French, we've mentioned him many times from FCS Gardner-Webb. Is he a guy that can translate to this level? TJ Jackson, rushing the passer. So there's some guys that you think are really talented. If they can step up and perform like you think they can, I think this defense can really elevate up. But those are the questions. Just how do those guys look, those new pieces mixed in there?
I think it was really helpful that when Duquesne came to play West Virginia last year, it was a recruiting visit for Aiden Garnes.
Unofficial.
And he was really impressed. He liked it here. He was really impressed with the facilities, felt like it was family, felt like it was home, and said thank you very much and came to West Virginia. But, Tony, they're up on that guy. And we watched him yesterday, and Rasheed Marshall, friend of this program, likes him a lot.
But he loves Garnett Hollis. Yeah,
is that who he was talking about? Was he talking about Hollis?
Garnett Hollis.
I got that wrong. But they like Garnes, too.
No, everybody likes Garnes. Garnes is leading the coach mention index so far.
And Neil is now not being authentic with his player mentions because he knows we're tracking him. So he tries to
Garnes is the guy that is mentioned by the most people in different areas of that program. Garnes is getting a lot of attention. So that's one of the questions. You've seen this program under Neil have success with FCS cornerbacks coming up and playing really well, right? Alonzo Adai, Charles Woods, all Big 12 performers. Beanie Bishop most recently comes from Western Kentucky, I know through Minnesota, but was an FCS type of guy coming up. or a group of 5 guy coming up. So Garnes is a big question. I assume that, they talk about Hollis very highly. I assume Garnett Hollis is going to be very good and fit right in. He started every game for a Northwestern defense that was ranked above West Virginia's last year. Right. I think that's a guy, just pen him in and say he's going to play well. Garnes, to me, is the question. If he's as good as they think he's going to be, now you have 2 corners you're comfortable in. Now those guys that are backups that are filling in, now you're cooking with gas.
Or if you have another corner establish themselves to the level that they're comfortable with making him a starter, Garnes to a safety spot is also not out of the realm of possibility. Flirt around with that.
And Gallagher on defense. You don't think?
I mean,
that's just like in a nickel situation or something?
It's like salt. It's like salt. It's not your
sprinkle
main.
that in.
Not your
Try
main
it out.
meal.
See what it looks like. They've got a bunch of guys that have played defense, so we'll see. I think Gallagher's future is still on the offensive side for this season.
I would think so. So Neil Brown addressed media members yesterday. We were talking about defense. Why don't we get a little defense? Austin, if you would, let's drop to Neil Brown talking about Aubrey Burks. Now, here's one of the guys that has been here for a long, long time. He's one of those guys, West Virginia did a great job of player retention in the offseason.
Yes.
He was one that they really desperately needed and wanted to keep. And here's Neil Brown talking about Aubrey Burks in camp.
With Aubrey, I think his skill set, he's going to play both. He's still going to play his what I call a hash safety, and he's going to play we call a spear. It's really a nickel position. We'll bounce him back. Some of it will be personnel-based, what the offense is doing. Some of it will be who we want to get on the field. If we want to play with 3 linebackers, he'll probably go back to safety. If we want to play with 5 DBs, then he'll probably be in at spear. So, and that'll be game by game, and he's splitting his reps there, and he's going to continue to split his reps. The thing that he's shown, and some of this has been in some dime packages where we've used him down there at that position, is he's shown the ability to play man coverage. He's shown the ability to be a difficult block on the perimeter, and then he will tackle. He's a willing tackler, and he's a plus blitzer. And so I think those things have really and we have more team speeds that can play in the backfield that allows him to come up and play close to the ball some.
There you go, Neil on Aubrey Burks. I like that terminology user. Cat, spear. I call that a hash safety. Kind of works, right?
What else I like is some of the terms he uses. A willing tackler. A willing tackler.
Yeah.
You mentioned, Tony, he was a good off-season retention piece there as he comes in highest graded defender last year for West Virginia. So he was critical to keep. And also you heard Neil talking about right there, the versatility that he provides you. We're talking about on offense, all the different things you can do. You're starting to have some guys defensively that you can move into different spots. That allows for different looks, disguise your looks a little bit, and really set that defense up to improve.
Here's another one I wrote down earlier this week, Hoppy, because coaches, they'll give you some of these football word gems, talking about a kid that doesn't run away from tackling. He says, this player has, this wasn't Neil, this was one of the assistants. He has contact courage.
Oh, I like that too.
Right?
Yeah.
Contact courage. You think that might be a 3 guys T-shirt? Contact courage.
Pretty good one.
Pretty nice.
Yeah.
He mentioned in there plus blitzer, meaning he's a really good blitzer. That'll be fun to watch. What did we just say about getting to the passer? Yes. You put Burks in a position where he can come and get you. Had 2 sacks last year and only really credited with 4 pass rush snaps. So he's a guy that can get home as well. That's a nice little piece there rushing the passer.
Well, they talked about him in his high school days, and this was Shadon Brown the other day. He said he was a really good blitzer, like a really, truly good blitzer. And I think that does give those guys opportunities. Middle linebacker spot, I keep watching that position, and I just really, really am encouraged and love what I see from Josiah Trotter, who had to sit out last season, would have started last year as a true freshman at middle linebacker. He just goes and gets it. Just nice, thick kid. He just has that. He's just a square-bodied dude, just like a block. He looks like a cinder block with really nice legs that can really move.
But he can run, yeah.
But he can run and move, and he's explosive, and he brings a great deal of pursuit and pressure and contact and physicality. I think our fans are really going to like him.
Agree with you there as well. Injuries have seemed to really hurt that position over the last few years. You finally got some depth for the first time in a number of years. We've talked about Trey Lathan so much, so he and Trotter can stay healthy, right? You didn't have Trotter, as you just mentioned. You lost Lathan early last year, so you have those guys. They stay healthy. Now you're mixing in a guy like Ben Cutter, who played a ton of football for you and was very good. May not have to start. Maybe a guy that you can bring in. Now you're really starting to roll a little bit.
It's interesting. They're going to scrimmage here. We're doing this Thursday, so Saturday night. They're going Saturday night lights at the stadium. It's not open, but it's going to be real. It's going to be 11 on 11, and it's not going to be one of those practices where they start off doing some drills and work on this, and all of a sudden, hey, let's go scrimmage 15, 20 snaps and keep going. Like, no drills. This is scrimmage time. Go out there and show us that you can help us. And that begins to separate. Then that's the end of Saturday, off Sunday, then one more full week, and then classes start the following week. So it's going to happen real quick where you're going to get who's going to be in the developmental squad, who can we definitely play with this year, and then there's that middle area of like, can we trust you enough to play you? That's really what has to happen right now. They know who can play. They know who can start. They go into that Saturday scrimmage. They want to know who could be our 2, who can be our 3. Can we put you on the field against Penn State, against whomever, and not be worried that you're going to have a missed assignment that could cost us a point?
Yeah, I'm excited to see where this defense can go, because I think some of the national maybe underrating of this team, at least at this point in the season. And again, I'll keep saying it, that I think the schedule in this league is going to be really difficult. But I think some of the underrating right now comes from, at least if you use those Vegas power ratings, national guys are underrating this defense a little bit because the returning production doesn't look like it's there. Right? Trotter didn't play. Lathan missed so much time.
Right.
Garnett Hollis doesn't count as a returning starter, even though he should in the new age. Didn't start for West Virginia, Hoppy, but started every game for Northwestern. So I think this defense potentially is being underrated a bit if you don't follow them day to day. Now they just have to go do that on the field. They've got to execute. And if they do, you figure the offense can be around what it was. If it improves, great. If it's around what it was, which was a very, very good offense by the end of the year, that's where I think the big jump in improvement can come from.
We talked, too, briefly about the depth at the receiver position. And you look at those guys that have come in, the Oklahoma State transfer.
Jaden Bray.
Brad, he's played a lot of football.
He has.
3 years, caught like 30 passes last year. The Mississippi State transfer Robinson, 6'4", 220.
He's a big dude.
And you ask people around camp, you say, are they going to play? Oh, yeah, they'll play. So it's not like, well, we'll see. We're not sure. I mean, these guys have played a lot of football, so it's not new to them. It's just where do they fit in? But you feel like you've got a couple more weapons at that position.
At this point, I think you've legitimately have 6 guys.
And that's what you need.
6
right?
guys that they can trust to play. And there's a couple of these freshmen. Mm-hmm. That's not even including Day Farmer or the Raymond kid. The Raymond kid makes, like, every time I go, like, what? Who did 18? That's 18. Who's this 18? Looking at 18. Raymond. Maybe not ready this year. Maybe can't. Don't know if he'll be able to get off the line. Don't know if he'll be able to block. But he's a dude that's like a, wow, really impressive.
Day Farmer will get on the field this year.
Electric.
He is twitchy. He's quick. It's a 4-star kid that a lot of schools were on. That was a big get for West Virginia. He's mixing right in with the 1 and 2s right now.
Yeah.
So think about that. Think of that extra weapon that you didn't have last year. Here's the guys. We've been recording now for 40 minutes, 45 minutes. Haven't mentioned Pac-Man Fox once. Haven't mentioned Traylon Ray once.
Right.
I mean, those are guys that can
Absolutely.
make plays, right? Ray's going to take a big step forward. All Preston Fox does is just catch passes, Hoppy, and especially difficult passes. That, to me, speaks to the versatility this team has. When we've gone that long, Ray would be a guy normally we'd come in here going, I'll tell you what, Traylon Ray going to step forward.
That's a good point.
Right? 45 minutes in before we get to Traylon Ray.
Yeah.
I think Fox is having a great camp. Mm-hmm. I mean, I'm not seeing guys drop balls. I'm not – knock on table. I'm not seeing guys drop balls. I'm seeing guys make really good catches. Like, the balls they're supposed to catch, they catch them. The balls that you go like, I don't know, I'm seeing those caught.
They're catching them.
They're catching hard balls.
Real quick, by the way, 46 minutes in, first mention of Cole Taylor, last year's leading receiver.
Yeah.
So there you go.
He's a problem. He's a problem for defenses. Now he's healthy. All good to go. Let me do one more Neil here. Let's talk a little bit and hear from Neil on offensive physicality. If you listen closely to what he's been saying since camp started, there is no question that there is a consensus that they met and had and came to in the preseason meetings that this camp was going to be physical and this camp was really going to be a lot more challenging than in the past. A couple of reasons. One, they now have enough players to do it. And number two, they open up against a Penn State team that is really good, right? Top 10, is going to be physical. And he wants to make sure that West Virginia's first game doesn't feel like a first game.
Mm-hmm.
Like he wants them going like, it's week 3, but it's week 1. We're going. So they're getting them tested. Here's Neil Brown on offensive physicality in the preseason.
Yeah, there's a physical component to every position offensively. You know, it starts with your offensive line, and it's really how you use your hands. Are you striking people with your hands? Like in football, these are legal weapons, your hands. And you better be able to strike with them, and that's something we spend a lot of time on. And then you got to be able to finish. You know, the only way you finish blocks is having extreme pad level and having your hands inside. And so that's the way O-line, tight ends, very similar. You know, we ask our tight ends to do a lot. Tight ends, similar to O-line, but also receivers, is being physical at the top of your routes. Like in the Big 12, they're going to let them play. So there's going to be a lot of grabbing at the top of the routes, and you better be physical. We call it a junction point. When two forces are meeting, you know, who's going to win that junction point? And receivers got to be physical, and they've got to take the attack to the DB, and then blocking on the perimeter. And it goes back to, again, striking with your hands, keeping your elbows inside. And then defensively, it's not only tackling, but it's also block destruction. So we spend a lot of time, whether I'm a D lineman, linebacker that's got to take on blockers and then get them off, or on the perimeter, if it's a DB that's got to destruct a perimeter block. And so there's various elements of it.
Destruction?
I mean, just
Did you like blocking destruction?
I just like that he gives it. I mean, that is a granular description, Brad. And you don't always get that you just don't always get that with coaches. And I think that's been one of his traits is candor and granular description of the game, which fans can appreciate. Instead of like, well, just a man on a man, and you got to win the battle. You know, it's just he gives you a lot more.
He is not a big coach speak guy. He gives you stuff.
Yeah,
That's why I've said for years since he's been here. I love listening to him. He actually gives you stuff.
You can learn stuff.
You can. I think what's interesting when he talks physical nature, that really was the identity of the team last year, wasn't it? And I thought that was really the first time under Neil that he's had the pieces and the style of play to establish an identity. You knew exactly what this team was going to give you, particularly on offense. You knew exactly what they were about when they stepped on the field, and more importantly, the opponent knew what they were about. So that's a question this year. Zach was such a big part of leading that physicality up front. Can this line still have that same demeanor, same attitude, same ability to be physical? Because I do think the passing game takes a monumental step forward this year, but this team is still going to want to run it. It's still going to want to run it when you know you're going to run it,
right.
and I want to move you even though you know I want to move you. Can they do that this year?
By the way, we this many minutes in, you talk about passing, we failed to mention Hudson Clement.
Huddy.
And Huddy's, you see Huddy's legs?
Huddy's got very well-developed legs. Yeah. Very well developed. 3 guys brought to us by Lou Wendell Marine Sales, the largest pontoon boat dealer in the state of West Virginia. Got something new to talk about today.
Yeah, you do.
Yeah. Hoppy,
Yes, sir.
let me introduce you to the Gator Tough John series.
Excuse me?
Yeah. Yep. G3s. This is about durability, dependability, and value. The key elements needed for avid outdoorsmen. G3 Johns provide an array of all welded models for hunting to fishing and everything in between. I wouldn't be totally surprised if that Chris Lawrence over on that hunting and fishing show he does on Metro News probably has one of those.
Probably.
You know, I was going to say, I have not confirmed this. I'll see if I can work to do this. But one of the earlier shows, you had asked, we talked so much about pontooning at Summersville Lake or Cheat Lake, and you had posed the question, you know, an avid hunter yourself, you posed the question, could you hunt off the pontoon? You asked that question. So I don't know if they built these in response to that question. Probably did. I'll try and confirm that.
I could see.
But you can hunt off the pontoon if you want one, but you don't have to.
You can.
Well, I think you
sure,
can, but this would probably be a better hunting boat for you, a fishing boat.
Yeah, check them out.
Probably better.
Lou
So I don't know
Marine.
if they build them just for that question, but they might have.
I think they
I'll
did.
Look into that.
So check out the G3s, John boats, and they're absolutely fantastic. Gator Tough John series at Lou Wendell Marine Sales. Lou Wendell Marine Sales has been in business for 4 decades. They have stood the test of time. Three Guys also brought to us by Comax Business Systems. As you know, if you get their Christmas card, I'll probably be on it this year.
Probably.
And if you're a business owner, if you've been delaying that new business phone system, think about it. You could be making more money if your folks can constantly communicate as needed. From one line to 1,000 phone lines, Comax is there for you. Take care of all your phone needs. Digital phone systems competitively priced and efficient. Ultimately, they do save you money. Call Comax Business Systems. Get a free quote today. Comax.
Tony, if I were heading out to fish, I'd probably stop and pick up some Tudor's Biscuit World biscuits.
Oh, you could
for the
load
crew.
up. No question. I think you get yourself a phone system over there from Comax. Put that on there in case someone needs to reach you.
Get your gas there at Gomart before
Get
you
your
head out,
gas
of
at
course.
Gomart.
Yeah.
Get yourself some Tudor's biscuits, and you have yourself a big time.
Well, and head over to episode800.com. Get your coffee to get you started.
Thank you very much.
By the way, drinking a little game day grind right now. Went cold coffee, iced coffee today.
Interesting.
Normally don't do that. Went
Reason?
iced today.
Reason?
Just shit. That's hot.
So you did a drip.
So you shifted up.
You did a drip. You did
Made it at home.
Made it
Got
drip,
the bag
and
from
then
Rusty.
and then you just put ice cubes in and diluted the hell out of it.
That's it. Put a little chocolate protein shake in there. You know, I got to have a little chocolate mixed in there.
By the way, Hoppy, I have to admit, I came in today. I told you I hadn't eaten anything all day. I had peaches. It's all I've eaten today. So he came in with me, and I said, dude, I'm freaking dying here. I got to get something. So I went in your office and stole one of your protein bars.
Yeah.
20 grams of protein. They suck. I mean, how do you eat those things?
It's just fuel.
Fuel? It's mud.
It's fuel.
With a wrapper on top of it. It's horrific.
I don't eat it like, oh boy, I have this candy bar. I have it because if I don't have time to eat and I need fuel,
you need a protein
I eat
source.
one.
You need a protein source.
It's functional.
Protein source.
Right.
Now, your Romney peach was pretty good.
Got a peck of peaches, Hoppy, from Romney.
You
know how
that's
many
why
is a
it's
peck?
7 a peck.
You know how many a peck?
Bushel and a peck. How many pecks in a bushel?
Well, I don't think that's the case. I think it's less than a bushel. A peck
That's
is
what I'm
less
saying.
than
How many pecks in a
I'd
bushel?
say my guess would be maybe 4. It's either 2 or 4.
Well, the good thing is we won't get any texts on this for the next show. No one will chime in knowing what a peck is, I'm
By
sure.
the way, I was in Martinsburg last Friday, Hoppy, and a guy came over to me lauding your brother for his farming.
Who was that?
I don't know what his name was or her name. I forget who it was, but they just said you're Nick.
Nick's a plus farmer.
Yeah, does a
Like
great
plus
job.
Bobby Brooks plus blitzer. Nick plus farmer.
Nick, I said I hit the guy with
Plus farmer.
Plus farmer.
I hit the guy
Plus
with
farmer, yes.
I said, doesn't Nick do soybeans? He goes, yeah, that's soybeans. Does other things like that. I was right on top of that.
They are struggling right now.
Oh, I know they are.
With the drought.
I know they are.
It's just, I mean, it sucks because as a farmer, and my brother's been successful at it, but you know, Brad, you can do everything right, and it doesn't rain.
Kind of like a head football coach, diagram the perfect play. If the guard or the tackle doesn't hit his block,
It's tough. 4 pecks in a bushel.
that's what I figured. So let me just tell you, I've personally ate a peck of peaches this week.
How do you, what you're like? You
They were
ate
good.
7 peaches.
I had 5 today. I eat 4 at a time, 3 to 4 at a time.
Okay.
He did share a half of one with me that day. It wasn't good.
It's good.
I don't know why they call Georgia the peach steak, because
Romney
Romney
peaches.
right in there. Romney gonna win the competition.
Okay, so coming up in just a second, massive announcement. Massive
Does
announcement here on
anybody
the
else know
show.
about this? Is this legit?
Yeah, it's legit. I mean, I get a little bit tired of being questioned all the time. A lot of people attack me for saying I go a little bit aggressive, making announcements early.
You do always.
Always, every one of them.
Yeah.
Nothing changed on the halftime. By the way, Hoppy had
Yes.
a weird thing today.
What's that?
So Hoppy and I used to be in the news business. Hoppy's still in the news business. When I
Lied to me. When you lied to me, but that's another story.
I said I'll do news anyway. So I was Ren Baker and I this morning went to the United Way kickoff for Tigard's Valley, 5-county area.
Okay.
At Fairmont State. Did a little Q&A thing. Well, this guy walks by me, had a name tag on because everyone gets a name tag. And they had high-level name tags. They had the one with a magnet that goes behind your jacket.
That's good.
And rivets in there.
That's good.
And the guy walks by me. His name was Alan Staggers. And I went like, Alan Staggers. I said, I know your name. So we had a Rolodex at WAJR News 100 years ago. And when the power went out, Alan Staggers was the guy you would call and go, Alan, how many got out? We got 35,000 houses out right now. And anyway, the reason I'm saying this is, he says, I talk to Hoppy every once in a while. I see him at the legislative session and things like that. But I was like, I remember your name. But then he came to me after. He said, man, I love Three Guys. Big Three Guys listener.
Appreciate that,
I
Alan.
chatted with him. Thank you very much. We had a lot of Three Guys listeners in the crowd there.
Excellent.
And I said, how do you consume it? I said, you watch, you listen. He goes, no. He said, listener, don't watch it. So normally either driving or walking. I always find it very interesting how people consume the show. So
good. That was awful nice then.
I was, like all good West Virginians, I was at Myrtle Beach for a couple days.
Of course
Heard
you were.
about that.
Of course you were.
Yeah. And first morning there, went down, Brad, to the supermarket.
Grocer.
Get some supplies and a coffee, and had my West Virginia hat on.
Uh-huh.
Here comes a feller with a West Virginia hat on.
Yep.
I pointed to him. I said, how you doing? He goes, how you doing there, hillbilly? Which was not an insult because we're both from West Virginia.
Sure.
So it was all good.
Sure.
But it was the only West Virginian I wore, the only West Virginian I ran into at North Myrtle. Kind of
Really?
surprised me.
Oh, stunning. Nah, they're all over the place. It's not true. Murrells Inlet, there's a bunch of them over there, isn't there?
Bunch of listeners in Murrells Inlet. We're big in Murrells Inlet.
Man,
Probably should have done something in Murrells Inlet this summer. Summer kind of got away from us.
it got away from us.
Yeah, we're supposed to go. Yeah, every year we're supposed to go.
Yeah,
down
well,
there.
Got away from us.
Well, someone isn't around much. Anyway,
I'm in Myrtle Beach.
seriously, that was the time to do it.
It was. He was already there.
And no one would be here. That might be a problem, too. Anyway, as I said earlier, Three Guys Before the Game is now brought to you in part by Tudor's Biscuit World. Did I tell you that they're expanding?
No.
Well, sure are. They're expanding. They're now searching for passionate entrepreneurs. They're on the move to open up new businesses. 40 years. Look at that. Look at that bad boy. That could be yours.
So
40
franchises are available? Is that what you're saying?
Oh, yeah,
40 years
three
of
guys
success.
Get into one,
74
Three guys
different
too.
locations. 74 locations. Their fast casual restaurant chain specializes, as you guys know, in made-from-scratch buttermilk biscuits and homemade breakfast items. And as you well know, they got an unbelievable brand equity and identity, thousands of daily customers across 4 different states.
One of the founders.
Could you eat 2 Ron's right now? Sausage, egg, and cheese?
Without hesitation.
You wouldn't even blink.
Like, without hesitation. Without hesitation.
You know, one of the founders,
Oshel.
Craigo.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I'd line up, take down a Duke right now, too.
Just lined up, took down
Bacon,
a Duke.
potato, egg, and cheese. Just line it up and punch it right in the face and eat
Yeah,
it.
good.
My choice would be, and I'm not sure if it's on that, would just be, I love the biscuit, just bacon and an egg.
Oh, they can do
Bacon
that.
and a fried egg.
They can do that, but I do it a little bit different. I go 4 eggs on the same
No,
biscuit.
you don't. No, you don't. Do you?
Do you know him?
When I eat eggs, Hoppy, I normally eat 6 at a time.
Do you really?
6 at a time.
You know,
4 to 6.
You know, in the morning when I have a little breakfast here at the station, I have 1.
What are you going to do with 1?
I eat
What are you
it.
going to do with 1?
What are you going to do with 6?
Eat them. Tastes good. All right, you guys ready to do
Nothing
this?
in moderation for him.
Nothing.
No.
It's
ever.
either 0 or 100 of them.
Exactly.
You guys ready to do this thing?
A peck of peaches.
On Monday, folks, when we come back, we're into our 2 a week now. We're going to start 2 a week next week for football and stuff. And everything. And anyway, we'll do the regular textual heal and stuff. We'll do the regular textual healing starting on Monday because we've had a lot of people send us stuff through the years, or through the last several weeks. We recorded several shows because none of these knuckleheads were around for the last couple weeks and everything. And so we'll do that. But that's not to say that we are not ready to make a massive announcement.
What is it?
We're ready to do this thing. All I'm saying is please direct your attention to... Here we go. All right, it's time. Textual healing. Sit him down. Sit this young fella down here. All right, ladies and gentlemen, for those of you that are watching, we just made a addition to the staff here. Please welcome to the program a guy who's been referred to on this program before. He's never made a visual appearance before.
Never.
There he is, world's greatest. I don't know if spiritually, I guess I should say the world's greatest pastor before I say you're the world's greatest barbecue.
No, his barbecue is better than his pastor.
I will give an amen to that.
Joining us on the program, this is Reverend Kevin Kane of right here just across the pond over in Westover there, Kingdom EMC Church in Morgantown. And last year we partnered with him, and he was the focal point of the Three Guys Before the Game food court, which is located there next to Fine Look and Phil at Daniel's Men's Store on University Avenue. And we did it last year twice. Mm-hmm. And it was an incredible success. And if you're a regular listener, you know that I am a self-proclaimed food snob. Like if your food sucks, I say, that's garbage. I'm not eating it. Hoppy, you're similar to that and many things. And Brad, I'm not sure exactly where you are on the snob. You get bummed out when people criticize food. Fair?
I get bummed out when you criticize food because you criticize basically everything.
Fine. One thing I don't criticize is that man's barbecue.
Oh.
And Rev, so here's the story. I'm going to let him tell his story, why we do it, what he does with it, and why it's important for so many different reasons. But first.
See, here's where we get off. Here's where it gets off
the rails.
Before he gives his story, we're going to do the food court every game this year. Last year
we did. Are you sure?
Is that done?
Last year we did it. Last year we did it twice. This year we're going to do it every game. We're going to start it.
Thank God, at least the guy providing the food says yes. So that
did you say yes?
We know. So if all else fails,
and it's multiple days.
We're going to start it on the 28th of August, which is a Wednesday, the Wednesday of game week. And on that day, we are going to go into business and we're going to start selling stuff there at the food court. So that same night, Hoppy, by the way, we are going to debut our new beer in partnership with Parkersburg Brewing Company. We cannot reveal the name just yet. We'll do that on the 28th, but it will be available at the Three Guys Food Court. Also, what will be available for the first time ever?
I hope someone's provided you with this information that has checked and balanced this thing.
Austin, let's go to the pictures.
There's a lot going on
here.
here.
There is.
Let's go to the pictures now.
So we've got Rev Kev barbecue. We've got beer.
No, not that picture.
Oh, hold on. What's happening?
No, get that out of there. The barbecue pictures. The barbecue wagon pictures.
You know, we
a 30. Look at this bad boy. A 36-foot.
32.
30, same thing.
Yeah, whatever. Give or take.
Whatever it takes.
Whatever.
By the time.
230, whatever.
Okay, flip through those if you would. Take a look at this. This trailer is under construction in Florida, and
oh my gosh,
that's it. Keep going, and that's what it's going to be. And now, keep going. This is what it's going to look like when it's okay. Stop right there. Fully skinned out.
That's nice.
The source, Rev's Barbecue. Keep going if you would, Austin. And you have an order window. You got a pickup window. And then the back side of this thing looks like that.
Well, this is awful professional for what we put on over there.
32 feet.
Nice.
So now, thank you. So, Kev.
Yes, sir.
Firstly.
How'd you pay for it?
That's a whole
It's
other.
funny, honestly.
It's the Lord's money.
No, completely separate organization.
I know.
Yeah,
so talk to us about the source. There's two pieces of this. One, it provides incredible resources, and all the money you make from everything that you sell gets donated to 100%. The source. That's the one story. And then the other part of it is the barbecue and the brisket is just off the chart. We'll talk about the meat in a second.
Okay.
Give me the spin on the source.
So the source is a separate 501c3 from my church. We just got to the point where we needed to divide church and state just because of the work that we do in the public school system.
Give to Caesar what is Caesar's.
Well, we do that as well. But we're about three things. We're about feeding kids, we're about empowering families, and about cultivating community. And so all the programs that we have through the source are designed to do that. We to date have provided over 2 million meals to the kids at Skyview Elementary. We've just expanded the program. We now have three schools that we've.
You're doing 3 schools now.
Yeah.
So that is a Friday. You deliver lunch. You deliver
We deliver
food
the lunches on Thursdays.
Thursday, so kids can take them home for the weekend.
They take home 3,000 calories every single weekend, and we've done that since 2010. So at 3 schools this year, we could be feeding upwards of 600 kids every single weekend. So we have the lunchbox program that we do. We do a before and after school program with Skyview Elementary. We have a summer program that we do, which lasts literally the entire summer. A lot of the other programs are just 2 weeks or whatever. We're the entire summer. We had 75 kids in the program this summer. Just amazing. And then we're at the beginning of the year starting a holistic wellness program as well for adults, because the state of mental health in our nation it's a mess. I mean, it's a mess, and wonderful people, but there's just such a demand. People can't get in. So we're providing an option for folks at the beginning of the year that will have certified mental health coaches through the American Association of Christian Counselors, and we'll provide these groups for them as well. So the source just keeps getting bigger and bigger.
Here's my question. This is a talk line question for you, okay? Is that, because I get these questions on talk line all the time, like, where are the parents? So you are supplying these meals, which is a great benefit.
Sure.
But I know the average person is going to, and it's a charity event, average person is saying, well, wait a minute, that's the parent's job. So obviously there's a need, though, so explain it.
So you have 2 things before us. The ultimate goal for the source is to never have to do a lunchbox program again, but that's not where we are. I brought in some statistics, which we don't have to go through all of that, but annually, there's about 74,000 kids in the state of West Virginia every year who are suffering from food insufficiency. And so it's about 1 in 5 kids in the state of West Virginia. And it's easy just to say, well, they should take care of it themselves. That's fine. Let me quote a school counselor from Mon County that I know. Hungry kids don't learn.
Right, exactly.
So we need to get some food in their bellies, because a lot of these kids are only eating breakfast and lunch at school, and then they go hungry all weekend. We've seen kids, grade school kids, rationing food from our lunch boxes for their younger siblings that aren't in school. So you have the immediate need there, but that's why I'm saying we're also empowering families. So the programs that we're beginning to develop with the families here in the community are strengthening the household. And then what we hope is, through the before and after school program, the summer program, we're training these kids up in the way that they should go, so that when they move into adulthood, they're ready to roll.
Right.
So we've already walked one generation through with our youth mission that we're involved with, and we have wonderful success stories. But we want to do that with these kids and really radically change the community, not just by putting food in the belly on a weekend, but one generation from now, hopefully we can eliminate food insecurity, at least in our community, but hopefully beyond that.
Very good. Very good.
All right.
Very good.
Let's talk about the trailer. So folks that support you funded this.
Yes.
In large part.
So we did 4 fundraisers last year and nearly paid for the whole trailer. We had additional people that have given us money who have helped with the smokers, and so I've never bought a smoker. They've all been donated to us.
Okay, it's 32 feet long. What's inside of it?
That's all Tony. That's all Tony wants to know.
Yeah,
What's inside of this?
There's a griddle. There's 2 fryers. Listen, you're a food guy. Do you know what a salamander is?
Melting purposes.
Melting purposes. There you go. The tacos. We never served a taco in our life. Do you know how many tacos we sold last year? 1,000
brisket tacos.
Brisket, pulled pork, and your new favorite,
chicken was unbelievable.
Pulled chicken. So
best chicken I've ever had in my life.
Well,
excuse me?
Very moist, very tender. It was good.
I hear my brisket's the best brisket you've
ever
had in your life.
I know people listening go like, yeah, because Rev Kevin. I said, no, I like, it's my favorite barbecue's brisket. Been to Texas, been to South Carolina, been to North Carolina, South Carolina. I'm telling you, your brisket is the best.
We had multiple Texas visitors at the food court last year said that same thing while on site.
Meat candy. It's meat candy.
It really is. And do you know what we use on it? I'll give you the recipe right now.
Salt, pepper, nothing else.
That's it. Salt and pepper. That's all we use.
Why is it so good?
Love. I heard one of you guys said at one point it was the Lord or something.
Yeah, it's the Lord.
that.
I don't,
Grace.
Book of Acts says
It was
rise,
grace.
kill, and eat.
Grace.
Hey, can I tell you though, do you guys know how I started with barbecue?
No.
Do you remember a guy that played for West Virginia University football team named Tito Gonzalez?
Absolutely. Sure.
Tito
Touchdown Fiesta Bowl against Oklahoma.
So that next spring, because Tito was kind of caught, he was done with his senior year. He didn't graduate till August, so his lease was up. He didn't have anywhere to live. He was going to my church. I said, well, just live at my house. So Tito moved in with us. And somebody had told me, Rev, you are so busy, you've got to get a hobby. This was the spring of 2009.
Yeah, you need a hobby, all right.
He said, you need a hobby. So I said to Tito, I said, you grew up in the South. You know anything about barbecue? He was like, oh, man, Rev, my mom barbecued all the time. I said, well, walk out here and see if I'm doing this right. I had a propane grill on the side of my house. Tito walks out and he goes, oh, man, Rev, you ain't even got the right equipment. We went the next day and bought a charcoal grill at Sam's.
That was it.
And there you go.
That was it.
Here's how I knew that your stuff was the real deal. Luke Darnell, world champion barbecuer, who you grew up with in Westover, right? He looked your stuff over, and he's a multi-world champion. He said, like, dude, I wouldn't change one single thing that you do. So how many pounds could you now do if you needed to? What will you do?
We can cook 2,000 pounds at a pop.
That's a lot. That's a lot.
2,000 pounds. So typically when we run, we'll do 2 runs. We'll do 40 briskets, 40 pork butts, 300-400 pieces of chicken, and maybe 60 racks of ribs at a go.
So what is your plan for food, for our food court? What do you plan on? What do people need to know?
So we're doing tacos. We're doing bird in a box.
What's that mean?
Pig in a box.
What does that mean?
Brisket in a box.
Chicken.
Select your base, which is either tater tots, mac and cheese, or my wonderful wife Leslie's corn cake.
Oh, very good.
Then you pick your meat, chicken, pork, brisket, and then you pick your crunch. Fritos, bacon,
barbecue,
coleslaw,
barbecue people, things.
maybe a little fried onion petals, something like that.
And
then you add your sauce.
And
And then you can buy by the boat. And something we're doing this year, you can pre-order tailgate pans. So full pans of your choice, brisket, pulled pork, pulled chicken, and you
pick it up before Saturday
No.
Saturday,
you
both?
come there, we'll have it all pre-organized for you. Your name will be on it. You walk up to the trailer, you get it, you go.
Are we blocking off streets for this? This is massive. What are we doing? What are we doing there? We're still efforting there?
Well, we are efforting.
Efforting?
Efforting is
Daniel's
definitely the
efforting.
word. I will tell you this. Food costs is off the charts. So we're selling this at a nearly cost level because really what we're trying to do with this food trailer is get out there and tell the story of the source.
Right.
So our big thing that we're doing is it takes a latte to feed a child. How much does a latte cost?
$5, $6, $7, depending on where you're going.
$7.
Okay. Yeah.
If you give me one latte a week, you feed a kid for an entire year. So that's what we've done. We've set up a QR code that people can log on to, and they can pick 1, 2, 3 sponsorships, and it just naturally, automatically pulls $7 out a week, and they feed a kid for a year. So that's what we want to do. We want to give great barbecue, but also have people get behind this program so that we can provide food for these kids on the weekend. The cost of childcare is off the charts. We would like to provide that at the lowest level. People should make an investment, but we want to do that at the lowest level. Same thing with summer camp. What do I do with my kids now that they're not going to school? We want to provide that at the lowest cost. We're not in this to make money. We are a non-profit organization. We really do want to feed children, empower families, and cultivate community. You can sit around and scream and yell and complain, or you can actually get out there and do something about it. And I'm a person that wants to get out there and do something about it. And that's what we're doing through this organization. And while you're at it, let's have a good piece of brisket.
There you go.
Absolutely.
Just saying,
Absolutely.
I told you the other day when I called that I got myself online. I told Jordan Leslie about his brisket.
Oh,
Jordan kind of looked at me like, gave me the double head.
Yeah.
What you talking about, Willis? One of those kind? I said, I'm just telling you, dude. And he said, all right, bring it to me. Let me see. I mean, as you well know, he was here. He's a food
Big
guy.
food guy.
Yes.
Yeah.
So pressure's on you, dog.
How about this? Why don't you talk to that coaching staff, and I'll just cater
Just
a
feed
meal
them?
for them one night.
Oh, that's a good idea.
The whole coaching staff.
Yeah, we'll do that. We'll do
Let's
that.
set it up.
Okay, we can take care of that. Okay.
This trailer is going to be fun, though. I have new video to show you guys, too.
Well, we look forward to it. So you're going to be there August 28th,
Yep, we'll be there that Wednesday.
28, 29. What are you doing? You doing that the whole week?
We're there. Like, we've already talked to our main man, Dave, and we're ready to roll.
Dave, homeless Dave.
Homeless Dave?
Is that what his name
That's
is?
what he calls him homeless. He gets confused where he lives, so he calls him homeless.
Let me
all
ask
over
you
the
this.
place. Yeah.
Do you know where he lives?
He's never disclosed that.
No, homeless Dave.
I'm excited. We're excited. It's going to be
This
a
will be
great,
awesome.
great, great time.
All right.
That's good.
Thanks, Ray. You can stay if you want.
I love staying.
When do you prepare the Sunday sermon?
It's kind of a progressive work, Hoppy.
Oh, I know what that means.
No,
5
no.
minutes before I walk out.
No.
That's
It's
not
like,
true.
here's an oldie but goodie.
How long you been at
No, I've never done that.
You've
Life-
only done that?
No.
Can I tell Kevin's story?
Oh, geez. Because you guys have known me for a
Forever.
long time,
So, and actually, the story is only half true.
which makes the best story.
Best ones usually are.
Yeah. So I'm at the legislature, this is years ago,
Oh,
and
gosh.
Kevin is down, and I say, "Hey, Kev, what's happening?" He says, "Well, I'm giving the prayer to open the legislature today." And I said, "Really? What are you going to say?" He goes, "Oh, I didn't prepare. The Lord will speak to me and give me the words."
Yeah.
And I said, "Okay." And that's the only part that's true. And then from there, I tell the story. I see Kevin later, or Kevin goes up to give the prayer, and he fumbles and stumbles and can't get the words out, and finally says,
That's a lie.
Finally says, that is a lie, but it makes a better story. And says, Amen. So I see Kevin said, "What happened? I thought the Lord was going to speak to you." And Kevin says, "Yeah, he did. He told me I should have prepared something."
Do you know what actually happened that day? My boys were up in the
Gallery?
gallery
Yeah,
up
yeah.
top, and I started praying, and there's a bunch of school students up there, and the kids were sitting there, and they're, I train my boys, their heads are bowed, their eyes are closed. The two kids beside, they're having a conversation, and they lean over and they go, "Man, this guy prays forever." Some things never change.
All right. Well, stick around. Kevin used to, back in the 90s, mid 90s, I used to do the Westwood One College Football Game of the Week. That's before I did the West Virginia radio. So he would be one of my spotters, and we would drive around and go to great games, right? We'd go to great
It's
games,
phenomenal.
and at one point he was getting ready for a sermon, and he was gonna speak about Uzzah in
Oh, my
Old Testament
gosh.
Uzzah.
Yeah.
So he kept talking about Uzzah. We're driving Uzzah, and Uzzah does this, and Uzzah does that, and Uzzah. So from here on in, he was always been known to me as Big Daddy Uzzah. that's what it is, Big Daddy Uzzah.
Those were fun days.
Texter Hoppy, Keith
Yes.
from St. Albans writes in.
Yeah.
About a month ago, I was listening to Hoppy's cute little morning show, and he was lamenting about his West Virginia citizenship. Since he was actually born in the Lesser Virginia, he was concerned about his West Virginia citizen status. If you happen to see him, let him know he may be able to follow the lead of one Nathan Adrian and get dual citizenship. I love the show, Keith in St. Albans.
Yeah, I was actually born in the mothership.
Did not know that. First I've heard of
First
this.
I've heard of that.
Yeah. Well,
So you and I
So-
both have something in
Yeah, so
common.
the
all three of us
are the
were
same.
not born
somewhere
in
else,
West
got here as
Virginia.
fast as we could, as the two of us were attacked on a previous episode
Yeah.
by the supposed state native that's not a supposed state native.
Well,
Same
good
as us.
point. That's a solid point.
Just like us.
Yeah.
well, so my family we lived in Summit Point, West Virginia.
Sure.
Summit Point, West Virginia,
I get
Jefferson
it.
County. My mother was they took her to the hospital in Winchester, Virginia.
Yeah, Patsy Cline.
That's right. So I was born in the mothership, Virginia.
Wow. It's okay.
That's what my birth certificate
I
says.
understand. I mean, it's all right. I'm glad you came clean after all these years. Didn't take that one
But
to the grave.
I got to West Virginia as soon as I could. 3 days later, after I was born.
Let me
take
fill
so
you in
long.
a little bit more on the food court. Tonight, we're recording August 8th, Thursday. Tonight at 6 p.m., so by the time you hear this probably, if you go to episode800.com, we're unveiling all of our new fall lineup.
This is a big show.
You're gonna
today.
find
You're full of announcements
Oh,
today.
my
You're going to
gosh.
find the latest stories and collections for the fall, including Peter Millar. You got some of that, Big Daddy. updated comfort color tees, new hoodies, an updated efforting collection, and the newest baseball hats from Champion. Plus, our OG styles are still available. Some new themes. All right, Austin, play me some of this. Got a new shirt. Yep. Nobody cares / work harder. We got those available. Win the game. And a great new hoodie from Comfort Colors that talks about your favorite sports season. Yeah. Nobody cares, work harder. And then you got these ones. We're going back logo too. And then volleyball's my favorite season. All that stuff. And also, got soccer's also my favorite season. That's awesome. And keep this in mind. At the food court that Kevin's going to be part of each and every Mountaineer game, our buddy Duca from the wine bar going to be there. And it's a great pairing with Kevin's stuff. He is ready to debut his Meatball Trio, a creative twist on Duca's famous Meatball Amantea and the Elite Pork Cracklings, a bestseller from their menu. And those are really good. You had those pork cracklings?
I have not had those.
Kind of like a sophisticated pork rind.
Oh, I like that.
And those are really good. In not all, Kansas game, September 21, he's going to do his mouthwatering pretzel and dipping cheeses from the wine bar. Perfect for Oktoberfest. And new beer release coming up, as we said, on the 28th of August. And our beer that will launch on the 28th will be available in all 55 West Virginia counties.
There we go.
We have made the move from Weirton to Welch, Martinsburg to Matewan, and all points in between. You can have yourself cold beer. And
there's a lot going on.
Yeah. Last year, remember kid-friendly Tasty Tart Time, the Tardy Time people?
Oh, those were good.
They're also
back?
efforting to be back.
Excellent.
So there you go. There's our fall announcement.
Jeez.
I got you a 32-foot barbecue trailer with Rev Kev, Big Daddy Uzza. If you haven't eaten it, the fun thing is for me, when I go over there and people are eating it for the first time, they'll come up to us and go, "You guys weren't kidding. This is the best."
We sold out every game.
This is the best ever. It's the greatest thing I ever had. I said, I told you.
A lot more space.
I mean, we're not gonna advocate for any food that's bad.
When I get it, I get 0 sides.
Well, that's the way you should do it.
I just go total meat.
You can order just meat.
Yeah.
I don't know. That mac and cheese is really good.
Yeah, Leslie's mac and cheese.
Yeah, that's really good mac and
charts.
cheese.
It's good. I just,
Oh, we know.
it's my focus.
If anybody wants to check out anything else about The Source, it's thesourcewv.org. Thesourcewv.org. Do you guys notice how I said W? Do you know where I learned that?
Where did you learn that, Kevin?
Well, 30 years ago when I worked for West Virginia Radio Corporation.
Yeah.
You guys taught me how to say W properly.
W, not W.
Not two. It's 2 U's. W. Yeah. Source. All right, man. Thanks for coming in.
Thanks, guys.
Good to see you.
I appreciate
You
it.
got like a
brother.
barbecue hat and everything now. Like that
Hey,
looks
we're
like
selling them.
on the site.
Oh, yeah.
That's pretty nice.
We've got Richardson 112 hats.
Oh, that's the hat.
That's
So
the
one.
we're efforting those as well. That's
We have Richardson 112 hats.
Yeah, that's the hat.
What's that? What is that?
That's the brand hat.
That's the
Kinda
brand hat?
That's the brand.
Yeah, that's
And then
That's it.
we have Carhartt beanies as well,
Nice.
as I sport my hat on.
That's
three
all right.
guys.
Well, you're one of the few guys that wears a hat that actually has hair underneath it. A lot of guys do that just for cover. Not
You
gonna
know, I don't want to rush Kev out here, but can you wrap this up? We've talked a lot of food today with no food here. I'm
hungry.
starving.
I know. We're good.
Let's go get a biscuit.
We're out. Speaking of food, 3 guys before the game brought to you by Tudor's Biscuit World. Start your day the homemade way. It's great to have them with us. By Lou Wendell Marine Sales in St. Albans. They sell family fun. Visit LouWendellMarineSales.com. Hey, sign up for the unbelievable stuff. Remember I said the 23rd of August, you got to be on that Ultimate
Do
Mountaineer
you want in on
Experience
the
for
man
Gomart.
trip and the gear and stuff?
Go to gomart.com, get the Gomart app, sign up. Got to do it before the 23rd. You can walk on the Mountaineer Man Trip and get stuff. Gomart. 3 guys also brought to it by Comax Business Systems, keeping West Virginia's business data safe, secure, and efficient for 25 years and everything. So thanks for being with us here. For Kevin, Hop, Brad, we're back on Monday to cause more mischief. Thanks to Austin, our producer, and Kevin brought a security official with him.
He travels with security.
Big. You must have made it. You got your own paparazzi with you. That's
Paparazzi.
a pretty. Yeah. T Kane with us as well. All right, we're out. Be good. 3 guys before the game. See you.